How's it rockin', Dween Nation? This is the Dween Sports Podcast. We're about to get underway. But before we do, we'd love if you could like, comment, subscribe, or share. We are posting weekly sports content, and we want to build up the brand that is Dween Sports. Thank you all, and enjoy.
Welcome in, Dween Nation. This is your host, Justin Paez, alongside Genoa Agudelos, and we're getting spicy today in this episode, as this is our bold predictions for Week 16 of the NFL season. We love to do this episode. Beat Buffalo Wild Wings still hasn't gotten back to us yet, but we are waiting for that call. But we're excited to get into everything today to help you with your fantasy matchups. Genoa was on fire last week with his bold prediction. I think he had 2 of the 3, or maybe even 3 of the 3. He was great. So listen to what we got to say. But before we do, how you doing, Genoa?
Yo, Dween Nation. Yeah, Justin, I'm going to have to, find the corporate number 2 Buffalo Wild Wings because we got to get this spicier and spiciest rolling when we go into next year. And who knows, maybe we can have some going to the playoffs because, Justin, once we have those NFL playoff matchups, we can really dissect. With all the rest of the teams eliminated, we're down to 6 matchups for the first week, and then it trims down. And so we're really going to need to up our spiciest. Not to mention, there's nothing better than sitting back, watching some football, and you got some Buffalo Wild Wings right in front of you with some ranch, maybe like some blue cheese. Like me, I like both. Maybe like some honey mustard. Maybe you just like them plain, but you like them spicy. Who knows? And so definitely is something good. But I think Justin and I, we got some spicy takes here. And Justin, go ahead and take it away because, this is a very important week for fantasy and regular season.
Yeah, I'm excited to start us off. And you might see a theme with what I've been doing this week. And I think it's kind of one game that I've been very focused on that I think there's going to be a lot of fantasy points scored. And it's this Dallas and Tampa Bay game. And so that's where I'm going to take my first bold prediction, where I'm going to say that Ceedee Lamb and Mike Evans are the wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 on the week. Last week, they had a phenomenal game in each of their respective matchups. This week, they go head-to-head, both, in Dallas. I don't think Ceedee Lamb wants to be ousted or, showed up in his own building against a guy that, Mike Evans is a baller, and I believe he's from Dallas, Texas. So he's back home in a game where he's also trying to get to his 1,000 yards receiving on the season. I think both receivers go at it in plus matchups. The Buccaneers are bottom 5 or 6 against wide receiver, as is the Cowboys with no Trayvon Diggs. They got injuries aplenty there. And so I think that it's going to be and Mike Evans is from Galveston, but he is a Texas native. But I think this game is going to be phenomenal, and I think both players are going to go off.
Yeah. Ceedee Lamb as well, a Texas guy. Went to Oklahoma, and Evans, a Texas guy that went to Texas A&M, and so these are 2 Texas-made wide receivers who are phenomenal. One kind of in the back half of his career, kind of per se, and one that is entering his prime next year. No doubt, he's a top 3 to 5 fantasy pick there with Dak Prescott being back there. Hopefully, they're able to make some modifications at running back, maybe add another wide receiver, so it's not just Ceedee. Ferguson should be back and healthy. He's kind of playing on one leg right now. But you know what? These 2 wide receivers are still going to ball out Sunday night. Believe it or not, Justin, I did see a scenario where the Cowboys still make the playoffs. Yeah. And one of the scenarios that they need to happen is for Tampa Bay to lose out. So it starts this weekend where they got to beat Tampa Bay. They get the victory. Tampa Bay gets the loss. And it kind of builds on from there, Justin. Ceedee Lamb is phenomenal there, and Mike Evans is phenomenal. He's back, and these are 2 league winners that you guys, if you're still in the playoffs, you're obviously put them in your lineups, ready to go. So I definitely like that. It's going to be a little bit of a shootout there. For me, I'm going to go with the Lions and Eagles are on upset alert, right? So looking at the Eagles, right, they have won 10 straight, I believe. They haven't lost since they lost to Tampa Bay. They are on the road against the team that they beat on Thursday Night Football a month ago. And you know what? I think that they could potentially be on upset alert. I didn't like what I saw last week from Saquon Barkley. I think he only had 60 yards rushing. That's about it. For all you people who had Saquon Barkley, you guys could have potentially lost because of him. With the Lions, they have lost their starting running back in Montgomery. And I think we talked about last episode where Jared Goff, he is going to struggle on the road. And I think that they're losing pieces on their defense little by little in Detroit. And it has me concerned a little bit for Detroit securing that number 1 seed. I feel bad for the Lions, man, because they've never really had a great team in their franchise history. Maybe 1 year with Stafford, maybe that 1 year, like 91, 92, where they beat the Cowboys with Barry Sanders. And so that's really it. Outside of that, the Lions are a part of, history on the wrong side. It's just, I feel really bad for them. But that there's a chance that they could still be playing the wild card where, maybe the Vikings went out and secure that 1 seed, or the Eagles. And so the Lions are on upset alert, but the Eagles are on upset alert, Justin, I believe, because they already played the Commanders, and they barely scraped by at the end. And I think that Jaden Daniels sort of found his stride. And this was in Philadelphia, so I think that now this time it's going to be in Washington. I just feel like a little bit there's still, where there's smoke, there's fire in Philadelphia. And I feel like there's still a little bit of a cloud hanging with A.J. Brown and Hurts. I just didn't like the way they handled things there. And I think that might linger in immediately starting this week, where I think A.J. Brown kind of starts off slow. So give me, these two teams, I picked them both to win in rapid picks, but I'm saying they're on upset alert, and one of these teams are going to lose, Justin. I don't think both of these teams win. I think the Lions lose, or the Eagles, or it could just be both.
This one's a tough one. I think if I was more excited about who they were playing, maybe we could do that. I know they're both on the road. Both are division matchups. But the offenses, to me, for Washington and Chicago have been so underwhelming that it just has me worried that they're able to put up enough points in general to beat those respective teams, the top 2 teams in the NFC. But if I had to pick one that's more likely, I think it is the Lions, because they have 23 people on IR, 15 of which are defensive players. So I just think that if Chicago is able to do anything, it's because the Lions just don't have the players on the field that are capable, with all their starters being injured. I'm still not going to pick either of them to lose, just because to me it's more of Chicago's offense is ugly to watch, and Washington has its moments. But I just think Philadelphia's defense is going to lock in there. So that's why it's a bold prediction. But I'm gonna have to disagree with you there, man. But yeah. Moving on to my second take. It's about Jonathan Taylor, and he had the unfortunate thing. I feel like he's probably feeling so bad about it. I know, probably unfortunately getting a lot of hate for it by Colts fans, fantasy managers, whatnot, for the botched touchdown that he had, an easy one. And not to get onto him, but I don't know why players do this. So this shouldn't happen ever. I mean, just get in. But anyway, with this game, he plays a division rival in the Titans, who just allowed 24 points to Chase Brown on the ground. And I think Jonathan Taylor will be the RB1 on the week. He will, redeem himself from his mistake last week. And it's a good matchup, with the Titans also being having a lot of injuries on that defensive end side. So I think Taylor bounces back in a huge way. I think the Colts will be in command and in the lead of this game, because the Titans just can't put up enough points. And it's going to be Taylor. I think he'll get around 25 carries. It'll get him over 100 yards for sure, and I think he'll get a couple scores with that to be the best running back on the week.
Absolutely. I love this matchup for Jonathan Taylor. This is like a must-win for the Colts. Defense is going to ball out, and the head of the snake in their offense is Jonathan Taylor. They got to get him going there. And he had a pretty solid game there in Denver besides that big mistake there. And he's definitely, pitched himself for it. I know for a fact throughout this whole week, he's definitely, had conversations with coaches. He's definitely had conversations within himself. Maybe there's some regret. Maybe I should have done this. I should have done that. So I definitely love that. He's going to have a redeem week for sure this week, especially at home, which has been such a great running back at home. So for sure. For me, this is like kind of a 1-2 thing with my quarterbacks. I want to say, first of all, I like what I'm seeing out of the Jets. I know it's crazy. And I just want to tell the Jets ownership and management, yes, I have my issues with Aaron Rodgers, but why don't we stick with him for one more year? Maybe draft a quarterback in the first or second round in the upcoming draft. Aaron Rodgers has good history with being behind a franchise quarterback and learning, and then being the franchise quarterback and helping the next quarterback learn. So he's been on both sides of it. So I feel like stay another year with Aaron Rodgers, because this week against the Rams, he's going to be hot. He's going to stay hot. he's got this thing going on with Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson where these past couple weeks he's been able to get to the ball to his two guys, and he's going to stay hot this week. He's going to finish top 3. So that's one part of it, but the second part of it, Cooper Rush is going to be the number 1 quarterback in fantasy this week because, he's got Tolbert, who's hot, scored a touchdown last week. He's got Brandon Cooks, who came back of IR a few weeks ago and scored a touchdown 2 weeks ago. You got Ceedee Lamb there. You got Ferguson. They got the run game going. It's a shootout. It's Sunday Night Football. Most importantly, Justin, it is in Jerry World, and I'm really liking Cooper Rush's matchup there. And I do think that he's going to have a great matchup, kind of playing from behind potentially. He's going to stack up yards. He's going to throw about 50 to 55 attempts there, just like he's done in Dallas all season long when he's been a starter. He's going to look for Ceedee Lamb, who's going to eat. And I think Jalen Tolbert is a dark horse who could eat there. And so I like this matchup for the Cowboys who desperately need a win. So give me Cooper Rush, the number 1 quarterback finish this week in fantasy.
Dang. All right. So you got a couple big waiver wire quarterbacks that are going to outperform. I like it. I like it a lot. I think both have really good matchups. Both are. I know the Jets aren't playing for playoffs, but the way they gutted out that win last week. They're both playing with some momentum, and so I think that they're both in line for good games. If you're struggling, if you have Herbert on Thursday and you're like, man, I really don't know if I can do that, or as you mentioned, Jared Goff, if you're worried there, or if you have Purdy or Tua and you're like, hey, they've been really. That at least is a debate to have. I'm not saying maybe I would stick with Purdy over that in that situation, but Rodgers and Cooper Rush over Tua, sure. But yeah, you expect big weeks, and we will see. That'll be an interesting one to keep an eye on. I'm gonna have another waiver wire guy to quarterback to be a top 3 quarterback on the week. So it looks like after this week, the top 3 quarterbacks are going to be a mix of Aaron Rodgers, Cooper Rush, and my guy here, Mac Jones. I think with the matchup against the Raiders, not scary. The way Mac Jones looked last week, he was able to make good plays. He was actually using his feet too. But when you have Brian Thomas Jr., who is to me a bona fide star, Bryn Strange is available for a security blanket to get a number of catches. Parker Washington can get good plays here and there. And then you got Bigsby and ETN. I think that Mac Jones will be a top 3 quarterback on the week.
Wow, Justin. Yeah, I mean, he's going against the Raiders who are struggling. And Mac Jones is a scrappy quarterback, was a former starter. He's a former top 3, top 4 pick. And he's got Brian Thomas Jr., who's going to get all those touches, those targets. And I like it. I like it a lot. And he's done good since filling in for Trevor Lawrence since he's been out for the year. So I like it. And so maybe it could be Cooper Rush, Aaron Rodgers, and then Mac Jones there as our – that'd be crazy, right? Over Burrow or like Josh Allen. That'd be some kind of thing, right? For me, Justin, my final kind of bold prediction there, or not bold prediction, but spiciest bold prediction per se, is yes, Michael Penix is a starter. Yes, Justin, you have him as your start of the week. But I think not only he has a good game, he seals the job for the rest of the year. And this is the game that he seals his max contract. Yes, Michael Penix. Yes, I know the Falcons might be in a pickle there for paying Kirk Cousins his max contracts, but NFL teams always find a way to pay their guys, especially guys that they drafted number 8th overall. And Penix is going to seal the deal. He's going to get his contract, similar to kind of like what happened with Jordan Love recently. And you know what, Justin? I think that Michael Penix is going to have a great game, and not only he's going to have a great rest of his season. And need I add to this take, Justin, that Michael Penix is going to win the division for the Atlanta Falcons now, edging out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And obviously the Saints have made a little bit of a run, but they're probably not going to be in it, losing last week. But Penix is going to win the division. It starts this weekend against the Giants.
Wow. Okay. Obviously the first part of the take, he's going to have a great game to solidify his future with the Falcons. I can agree with that. I think that I've been watching Kirk Cousins over the last month. I don't know what changed because he kind of went on a hot streak, but now he just looks like he cannot move in the pocket. And he's just not making those plays. I mean, you win 15-9 against the Raiders of all teams. So I think it's good that they're moving on. with Penix. I think this is his moment to shine. He is the most experienced, I think we talked about last episode, the most experienced of the college quarterbacks heading into this year. He got to sit behind a former Pro Bowl quarterback in Kirk Cousins. So I think that this is his time to take over taking over the division. I would love to see that. That'd be super exciting. Both teams are neck and neck. I know the Buccaneers are ahead by, I believe, a game. And so I think that is going to be something to watch for sure. Yeah, 7-7, 8-6. They're right there with each other. And so I think that this is going, and the Falcons have the head-to-head as they won, I believe, both games against the Buccaneers. So that's interesting to see. Dwayne Nation, those are our bold predictions for Week 16 of the NFL season. Lock in those your lineups. Hopefully you have these players we mentioned because I think all were positive. But yes, thank you guys for listening. And Genoa, send us out.
Yo, Dewey Nation, this was our spiciest takes of the week, our bold predictions there. Go ahead and check us out and go ahead and comment down below on your spiciest picks. I mean, it could be like Jared Goff is going to run a 90-yard touch. I mean, whatever it may be, Mac Jones is going to stiff arm, all 11 men. I mean, whatever it is, I don't care how crazy it is, guys out there in Dewey Nation. Justin and I will read it. We'll like it. We'll love to see what you guys think. So thank you guys for watching. And as always, peace.